Namaste teachers. Namaste Anil sir.
Namaste
Are
ma'am.
we good?
Namaste ma'am.
Namaste ma'am.
Namaste, ma'am.
Now, sir, are we good to begin with the
Namaste,
proceedings of the
ma'am.
day?
Namaste, ma'am.
Yes, please.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Namaste everyone. Every day is a learning day. Every day, something new is discovered or rediscovered, explored and embraced, as said by Dr. Patrick. We welcome each one of you to this new day where we are going to discover, rediscover, explore, and embrace. We welcome the patron of this faculty development program, President Awardee Dr. Anil Sharma ji, who has left no stone unturned to make each day for us a new learning experience, and the fraternity of educators to this day 3 of faculty development program organized by Shikshan Bharati Delhi Kendra and hosted by Bhavan Panchkula. In the yesterday's session, we got our IT skills sharpened under the guidance of Ma'am Ms. Renu Rawat, breaking the barriers and incorporating inclusion by Ma'am Preeti Sangwan, and learned mathematics through games by Ma'am Panna Datta Chaudhary. Like yesterday, I hope we all are ready to delve into the thought-provoking and enriching sessions. We thank Anil Sharma sir for bringing all of us together on a common platform and help us learn under the motto that sharing is not only caring but learning too. We thank you, sir, from the core of our heart. No auspicious occasion can begin with the blessings of the Divine, the Almighty. May I request Miss Simple to play the prayer and begin with the day? Thank you. Just ma'am, you're requested to mute.
माँ तू ही भगवती, माँ तू ही कालिका, तू ही है शिवानी मात, शिव की आराधिका। माँ तू ही भगवती, माँ तू ही कालिका, तू ही है शिवानी मात, शिव की आराधिका। तू शिवानी तू भवानी, काल रूप कालिका, तू ही है शिवानी मात, शिव की आराधिका। माँ तू ही भगवती, माँ तू ही कालिका। तू ही ब्रह्म, तू ही माया, तू ही आदि।
बाबा राखो आमी धोबो।
सृष्टि का आरंभ तू है, तू ही माँ सृष्टि का अंत। नित्य नवीन रूप तेरे, तू वर्णन से अतीत। अग्नि भूमि वायु जल है, तू ही है निहारिका। माँ तू ही भगवती, माँ तू ही कालिका। माँ तू ही भगवती, माँ तू ही कालिका। माँ तू ही कालिका, माँ तू ही कालिका।
We thank Jagrati ma'am from Panchkula Kendra for beginning our day on such a spiritual and melodious note. Thank you, ma'am. And with permission of Anil Sharma sir, can we begin with the proceedings of the day?
Please.
Thank you, sir. Ranjana ma'am, I request you to mute your system. Thank you, ma'am. The session 1 of day 3 is based on inclusive education and differentiated learning by Ma'am Ms. Mona Jayant Patras and Tulsi Bora. Inclusive education is about ensuring that every student, regardless of their abilities or backgrounds, has opportunity to learn and succeed in a supportive environment. And differentiated learning, on the other hand, is about tailoring our teaching methods to meet the diverse needs of our students, recognizing that each child learns in his or her unique way. So, the first session of today will be jointly taken by the special educators from Bhavans Mehta Vidyalay, Ma'am Miss Mona Jayant Patras and Miss Tulsi Bora, who will show us paths to integrate inclusive education and differentiated learning strategies to create an equitable and effective educational experience for everyone. The first speaker of day, special educator with more than 21 years of experience, is Ma'am Mrs. Mona Jayant Patras. She graduated from Jesus and Mary College, New Delhi, and completed her B.Ed in special education from Bhoj University. Specializing in mental retardation and autism spectrum disorder, she earned diplomas from YMCA and Tamanna Special School. She has participated in numerous training sessions and delivered presentations on learning disability and inclusive education. Ma'am, we welcome you. We are joined by Ma'am Ms. Tulsi Bora, who has been into service from the last 20 years. Ma'am also holds a degree from Delhi University, a diploma in mental retardation from YMCA Delhi, B.Ed from Bhoj University, and M.Ed from IGNOU, and even MSc in psychology from Madras University. She has done courses in elementary, child education, learning disabilities, guidance and counseling, and even administrative supervision. She has been training SCERT teachers and has served as NCRT resource person. Ma'am has even contributed to an NCRT EVS textbook for class 3, showcasing her dedication to special education. We welcome you, ma'am. The stage is all yours. We are all eager to listen from you, ma'am, Miss Mona and Tulsi, ma'am. Over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, I would like you to make me host so that I can share my screen.
Ma'am, you can share your screen even without that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I hope everyone can see my screen. Let's start. Good morning, all the educators present over here. Today, we will dwell into two powerful educational approaches, inclusive education and differentiated learning. We will explore how these strategies work together to create a vibrant learning environment where every student grow and thrive. So what is, first we will start with introduction to inclusive education. Inclusive education is a transformative approach that values diversity and ensures all students, regardless of their abilities, learn and thrive together in the same classroom. This approach creates a culture of acceptance where differences are celebrated and every student feel welcomed. It prioritizes equity by providing the necessary resources and support for each student to succeed, and recognizes that different students have different needs. And it also empowers students by acknowledging their strength and foster their confidence also. So ultimately, inclusive education promotes a supportive and equitable learning environment, benefiting both the individual student as the broader school community too. Just okay. Now let's move to the next slide. That is our defining inclusive education. Now, the core principle of inclusive education, which is to ensure that every student, regardless of their background, and has the equal chance to receive high quality education. It emphasizes education, recognizes and addresses the unique learning needs of each student. By doing so, it aims to create an equitable educational environment where all students can succeed and feel value. So every student feel value when they are together learning in a classroom. And it develops a culture of acceptance and support within the education system also. Inclusive schools caters to the varied needs of all students by offering individualized support and resources to them. These schools make accommodation to ensure that students with different abilities can access and engage with the curriculum effectively. They utilize the assistive devices and the adaptive devices, aids and learning, and even in the participation. So the main goal of inclusive education is to empower every student to achieve their full potential in a supportive and inclusive educational environment. Now, these are the benefits of inclusive education. First one is the academic achievement. Academic and achievements in this classroom fosters high academic outcomes for the student, especially with this with special needs, where they create an environment where all students learn together, including the children with special needs. And
Teachers.
even researchers shows that inclusive classroom can lead to improved academic outcomes for.
आवाज आ रही है क्योंकि कोई एक ऐसी
And can you mute yourself?
बाहर से
Okay. This is
लाइट तो है नहीं पर वाईफाई चल रहा है
okay. Let's start. Okay, now researches also shows that inclusive classroom can lead to improved academic outcomes for all students. This is because the settings provided opportunity for differentiated instructions where teaching methods are tailored, which are designed according to the need of the varied students. Additionally, students with special needs benefit from exposure to the general classroom and curriculum and from the higher expectations placed on them in the inclusive settings. So peer learning is also a very plays a very crucial role, as students can learn from one another and foster a collaborative learning environment that enhances understanding and academic success for everyone. Next one is the social emotional development. In this inclusive education helps students to develop important social and emotional skill in the classroom that include a diverse abilities and background also. All students have the chance to interact with each other, with their peers, and who have a different life experiences with their peers. This exposure helped them to build empathy as they learn to understand and appreciate the challenges and strength of others. Additionally, inclusive classrooms also teach students to accept diversity and collaborate effectively. Skills that are crucial for success in broader inclusive community. By working and learning together, students cultivate a sense of belonging and mutual respect. They have respect for each other, their culture, which is essential for their social and emotional development. Next is the inclusive society. By promoting inclusivity within school, inclusive education help build a society that values and embrace diversity. Students who experience inclusive education are more likely to become adults who appreciate and advocate for equity and inclusion. in all aspects of life. This education model breaks down stereotypes, encourages students to value differences and see diversity as strength. These students grow in the community as the policy makers, as a community members, and they contribute to create a more inclusive society that provide equal opportunity for all individuals, regardless of their backgrounds or their abilities. Teacher collaboration, which is very important for all of us. In an inclusive education setting, collaboration among teacher is very crucial, very important. Teachers often work together to plan and implement instructional strategies that meet the diverse needs of the student. The collaborative approach allows teachers to share their best practices, resources, their ideas, and enhance the overall quality of the education. In this inclusive teachers collaboration, special educators, general teachers, educators, and the support staffs can pull in their expertise and create a more effective learning environment experience. Through teamwork, teachers can provide comprehensive support to all students, ensuring that every child's unique needs are met. So every child's need we have to cater. This collaborative culture not only benefits students, but also fosters professional growth and development among the educators. This is also for the teachers too, for their growth also. Over to you, Tulsi ma'am. Tulsi ma'am, unmute yourself.
Sorry. Okay, as per NEP 2020, all for learners, for all learners. If the mission is education for all, the goal is to include all. So together, equitable and inclusive education strives to what? It strives to reduce achievement gaps, the gaps which we find within the students in a classroom. How can we reduce the gaps by addressing the root cause of the educational disparities which are there, such as the socio-economic inequality and the discrimination. Just a second, I'll just start my video. Yeah, okay. So how can we reduce the achievement gaps? Is like by addressing the root cause of educational disparity, such as the socio-economic inequality, discrimination, and inadequate support system. So obviously, when we'll work on these factors, there will be successful in reducing the achievement gaps which are there and ensuring that all students must get the opportunity to succeed and participate fully in society. To foster a sense of belongingness is another factor. How can we do that? Is just by helping all our students to feel that they are an integral part of the school community. Ultimately, equitable and inclusive education is all about providing every student with the opportunities and support they need to thrive while celebrating and respecting the diverse identity and experiences that they bring to the learning environment. Next, we come to the challenges and opportunity. Ma'am, next slide, please. Well, just the way there are always responsibilities associated with the rights, we all know that, right? So there are challenges and opportunities which are associated with the benefits of inclusive education. We keep on saying every time that there's a lot of benefit that we get out of the inclusive education, but it's not that easy. So always, whenever we are landing up to any benefit of the inclusive education, there are certain challenges which every teacher faces, and Of course, to overcome those challenges, we have the opportunities that we should understand. So let's have a look at it. First of all mainstream schools are required to become capable of educating all children in their local communities. Right. So the challenges associated with this prerequisite, this is a prerequisite of the benefit that we can get out of the inclusive education, right? So the challenges here are infrastructure upgradation, which is required to accommodate diverse learners, training existing staff to meet inclusive education standards, and then ensuring availability of resources and assistive devices that Mona ma'am has just briefed about it. So how can we overcome these challenges? There might be some opportunities that we can grab into building a more equitable education system, and then fostering a community-centric approach to education and encouraging collaboration between schools and local communities are the opportunities by which we can, of course, overcome the challenges which come in the way of the inclusive education. So basically, opportunities here are telling us the gateway to overcome the said challenges. Again, there will be still challenges that would require a mindful brainstorming and strategic implementation of the planning that we do for our classrooms. Next comes the barrier-free access to education for all children across all stages. So the challenges are physical barriers in school buildings, that many of the school buildings are still having these barriers in the for the accessibility of children with special needs, and limited availability of accessible learning material, and financial constraints in implementing necessary changes. So there might be several changes which we are suggested to, but then again the financial constraints are also there for every school. More or less every school might be facing this. So the opportunities that comes for our rescue are promoting universal design principles in school infrastructure. That of course is required to be implemented at the time of when we are starting, we are beginning or planning for the such infrastructure of the school, ensuring every child can participate fully in school life. Whatever is the program, we should try to incorporate, we should try to take, let them participate as much as they can, and creating a model for inclusive education that can be replicated. So we should continuously keep on replicating that system. Next comes addressing diverse needs of learners in all school activities, including arts, sport, and vocational training. The challenges here are lack of specialized staff for diverse educational activities. We, of course, need the specialized staff to be there. Inadequate funding for inclusive extracurricular programs, because again, when we conduct some extracurricular activities that require the funds, require sufficient funds, then resistance to change from traditional educational practices. The opportunities to overcome these challenges, enhancing student engagement and holistic development, celebrating
Excuse me, ma'am. Sorry to interrupt, ma'am. Gitika ma'am. Gitika ma'am.
and preparing
Gitika,
students for varied career paths
Gitika
with
ma'am, you're requested to mute.
ਉਹ ਘਰ ਵਾਲੀਆਂ ਨੇ
Gitika ma'am.
ਮਿੰਜੋ ਦੇ ਦੇਣ ਤੇ ਹਾਂ ਵਾਪਸ ਨਿਕਲਿਆ ਤੂੰ ਆਪਣਾ ਆਪਣਾ ਟਿੱਪਰ ਥਾਂ ਦੀ ਕਿ ਕੰਨੂ ਲੈ ਦੇ ਲਿਫਾਫੇ ਦੇ ਲਿਫਾਫੇ
Just please mute yourself.
ये जो लिफाफे लाए हुए हैं लिफाफे भी हो दूसरे देखते चलो हाँ और क्या ज्यादा
Somebody got unmuted, I think.
दो ही पाया नहीं नहीं ये टाइम ये बोलते हैं
Well, providing quality education to all technology-based tools and appropriate teaching learning materials. So the challenges that we can face, there are high cost of assistive devices and technology, because of course the assistive devices that we are talking about are not that cheap, right? So that can be a challenge in implementing the these benefits that we are talking about, and need for continuous training for teachers are on new technology, and ensuring equitable access to technology for all students. So these days, this is the need of the hour, that we can give equal opportunity to the students as well to access the technology, whatever is required for their learning. And the opportunities are leveraging technology to bridge learning gaps, innovating teaching practices with digital tools. We should include more of the digital tools while planning our lessons and enhancing learning outcomes for all students. Next comes the eliminating social exclusion due to attitudes and responses to diversity in race, social class, ethnicity, and the language, gender, and ability. So the challenges here again are deep-rooted societal biases which are there and prejudices which we have seen in the society, and lack of awareness and sensitivity among educators and students, and also the difficulty in changing established school culture. Once it is set up, we don't want to come out of our comfort zones. So these are some of the challenges, and of course there are opportunities associated to it in order to overcome. So somewhat we through the challenges can be like promoting social cohesion and empathy within the school community, creating inclusive policies and practices that celebrate diversity, and developing global citizens who value and respect their differences. Then comes the develop teacher competencies and skills that every school is doing these days. So challenges here are providing continuous professional development for teachers, integrating new teaching methodologies into existing curricula, which is there, and ensuring teacher buy-in and enthusiasm for professional growth are some of the challenges that are there in the path of the inclusive education. And of course, we'll talk about the opportunities can be seen in enhancing the quality of education through skilled teachers, promoting lifelong learning and professional development that most of us are continuously doing that, and building a community of educators committed to inclusive education. And then next comes the to develop evidence-based practices, right? Like what we say, measure what we value rather than valuing what we can measure, right? So challenges here are shifting focus from standardized testing to holistic assessment, developing new metrics and tools for evaluation, because no, we always say that one size doesn't fit all. So ensuring consistency and reliability in new assessment practices. And how can we overcome this? By creating a more meaningful assessment system, encouraging deeper learning and critical thinking, and aligning evaluation with educational values and goals. That goes hand in hand. And next comes create a system of teaching and learning that is competency based instead of content based. So yes, there is a paradigm shift in this regard. We all are now talking about the competency based teaching learning process rather than the content based that we were doing earlier. The challenges here are overhauling current curricula and teaching methods, and training teachers to adopt competency based education, balancing competency based learning with required content standards. Of course, we cannot alter the content which we are taking to our classrooms in order to teach the content. So obviously we need to balance out. The content should be there, the quality should be there. Again, we should take a step ahead by incorporating more competency based learning in our lesson plans. So the opportunities can be discovered in focusing on student skills and real world application. We will focus more on the skills and the real world application. Of course, we'll be able to overcome all these challenges which are coming in our way. And personalizing learning experiences for better outcomes, preparing students for future challenges with relevant competencies are some of the opportunities where we can dive in and help ourselves in the classroom, and create an educational culture of collaboration and encourages and supports problem solving. Challenges can be found in fostering a collaborative mindset among students and teachers. That because we all are now talking about the collaborative learning, so we need to foster this collaborative mindset amongst our students in the classroom while working or doing any assignment in the classroom, providing opportunities and resources for collaborative learning, more of the collaborative learning, more of the group activities, more of the flex, and there should be flexibility in the grouping as well. So the more we will incorporate such activities in our daily classroom, the more we'll be able to, foster all these mindset within the students. Also overcoming competitive attitudes in traditional educational settings which were there earlier, and now we, of course, most of the teachers and we all are even in fact trying to overcome all these barriers which are there, and opportunities can again be found in promoting teamwork and collaborative activities and collective problem solving that we just talked about, enhancing student engagement and motivation, and then building a supportive and innovative educational community. So, of course, that will not happen in one day. It will take time, but then again, gradually, we all can shift our teaching strategies in that direction. And next is establish school cluster to develop consensus around inclusive values within school community. So I'm sure most of our schools are already working in the direction of the hubs of learning. We all have created hubs of learning wherein so many schools are coming all together and they are sharing their best resources and practices which are going on in the schools with the other schools, so that our students, actually the society in large, will be benefited. The resources, the valuable things which are there in one school will be shared by other schools as well, and the mass level participation will be there, and this is how the society at large will get benefited with all the resources which are there in the school. And then share resources and best practices among schools is already we have discussed, built a network of support for inclusive education that we require to collaborate among the teachers, the main school teacher, the special education, the psychologist of the school, and who all are the stakeholders. We all can, keep everybody in the loop and then discuss about the challenges if we are facing any about any student, and plan the lessons for the student. And in this way, we can overcome all such challenges which are there, and enjoy the inclusivity in the school. Inclusive curriculum and school culture is another factor wherein we provide an inclusive curriculum that is value oriented and responsive to cultural and linguistic diversity. Here, the challenges which can be seen are designing curricula that reflect diverse culture and languages, then training teachers to deliver culturally responsive education, and overcoming resistance to curriculum changes. These all are the challenges which are there for a teacher in an inclusive classroom. And of course, the opportunities which are associated with that, which we can grab in order to overcome these challenges, are to celebrate and respect culture and linguistic diversity, which are seen, especially when we are living in such a country which is known for its diversity. So we can always celebrate and respect the culture and the linguistic diversity which is there in our country. Enhance student engagement and relevant and relatable content, and fostering an inclusive and accepting learning environment is all are the different ways through which we can, overcome the challenges which are coming in the way. And creating learning environments that embrace diversity, a positive environment that responds to the needs of learners beyond academics. There are certain challenges such as addressing the diverse social emotional needs of these students, then provide adequate supports, services and resources which are available in the school, and ensuring inclusivity in all aspects of school life. And the opportunities to overcome such challenges can be like when we create educational experiences, holistic educational experience rather, and then support the overall well-being of these students, and should always keep in mind the overall well-being, the mental and the physical health of the child is again very important, and which is coming out to be one of the very important factor in NEP 2020. And building up a positive and nurturing school climate is one of the foremost requirement. When we have a positive and nurturing school environment, the learning obviously will, the graph of the learning will definitely rise. Next, create an inclusive school culture with the support of trained inclusive teachers, social workers, and counselors. The challenger can be recruiting and retaining trained inclusive education professional to retain such qualified teachers and trained teachers, and so that they can even further educate and train other teachers in the school. That is one of the foremost requirement here, and integrating support services seamlessly into the school environment and ensuring ongoing professional development and support in this regard are some of the challenges which are there, and opportunities which we can see to provide comprehensive support for all students, whatever type of student is there in the class. We should always be able to provide comprehensive support to all our students and promote mental health and well-being within the school community. That is, of course, I have just talked about that the well-being, the mental and the physical health of a child is very important when a child is coming to the school for the with the goal and objective of learning something, acquiring some skill. For that, his physical and mental well-being is the foremost prerequisite, and building a strong foundation for inclusive education practices are some of the opportunities where I think we all can grab such opportunities and dive in and work hard and in order to make our school a completely inclusive one. This is all what we feel. And yes, now over to you, Mona ma'am.
Okay, next is a topic on assistive technologies in inclusive education, which provides customized support that enables students with diverse learning needs to participate fully and independently in the classroom. There are several assistive devices, technologies that are helpful for these students, like enhancing their accessibility. So the software is text to speech, which helps the student to with visual impairment or reading difficulty, students having reading difficulty, by converting the written text into the spoken words. And the other one is the speech to text software that assists the students with the writing difficulties by transcribing spoken words into the written text. So these softwares are there for the students having learning difficulties. The other one is the facilitating communication, that is AAC, argumentative and alternative communication, that supports to students with speech or communication disorder by providing alternative way to express themselves. And then there is another one, that is the communication board, that helps allow the nonverbal students to communicate their needs and thoughts effectively. There are supporting learning and comprehension apps also, like educational software and apps that offers interactive and engaging learning experiences that are tailored to individual learning styles and their pace, according to their paces. Then multimedia tools, like we use videos, then animation is a very good thing. They are the visual learners for them, and interactive stimulation to enhance their understanding of the complex concept. For the complex concept, we can use the videos and animation. Now, mobility aid is another one, such as adapted keyboards and mics, which enables the physically disabled student to use computer and other devices independently. So for these challenges, there are mobility aids also. Then furnitures also can be adaptive and equipment to ensure that physical accessibilities and comfort in their learning environment. So there are customized learning experiences, like adapt content and assessment to meet the specific needs of each student, and provide accessible and flexible learning options that caters to diverse abilities. Then is the whiteboard, interactive whiteboard, which we have also used in Zoom, that facilitate collaborative learning and allow students to engage with the content dynamically. Then is the visual reality and argumentative reality, which create immense learning experience that can be beneficial for students with attention and sensory processing issues. So student having attention and sensory processing, we can use the visual reality and the argumentative reality, AR we call that. By incorporating these assistive technologies in inclusive education, or creating more equitable learning environment where all students have opportunity to succeed and feel empowered by all these assistive technologies, by using all these devices, aids, and software. They feel empowered. These children feel empowered. They feel independent by doing so.
All right. So strategies for inclusive classroom. What are the various strategies that we can follow in an inclusive classroom? Right. So the different strategies which are given here are the universal design of learning. Then second is the collaborative teaching. And then third given here is the differentiated instructions. These are actually the entire inclusive classroom revolves around these three strategies which are given here. Let us understand what are universal design for learning, what are collaborative teaching, and what are differentiated instruction. I'm sure everyone, we all are doing this. Just we are revising whatever we are doing here in the classroom. We are just revising it. Universal design for learning, and in short form, we just say UDL, provides flexibility in the ways information is presented, the way students respond or demonstrate their knowledge and skills, and the way students are engaged. This universal design for learning is all about that. This flexibility allows teachers to accommodate a wide range of learners, including those with disabilities and those from diverse background, because nowadays we are having a diverse classroom with diverse learners, wherein it is not about the SEN, it is not only about the special education need children, it is more about the EWS also. It is more about those students who are those children who are coming from a disturbed family, and even lately the 21 different disabilities which are included has the acid attack also. Even the families who comes from such disturbed people families are also equally disturbed, and so we do have a diverse students, diverse learners. Whenever we talk about a diverse classroom, that includes all of them, right? So the flexibility here allows to accommodate this wide range of learners here, and UDL encourages teachers to present information in multiple ways. This is what we, when we talk about the UDL, it includes multiple ways, such as we can the VAKT approach that we all have studied during our B.Ed training, like the visual, the auditory, and hands-on methods and whatnot, right? So it encourages multiple means of action and expression. That gives us that liberty, that freedom, whether through writing or speaking or creating art or using any technology. We can go for any whatever we feel that the student has that requirement, we can incorporate that. So it encourages multiple means that I have already discussed with you, and the UDL also helps keep all students engaged, particularly those who might struggle with traditional instructional methods, because now they can find something interesting for them, something doable for them now, because now we also have, you know, bifurcated, and we also have distributed our way of teaching, and we have incorporated multiple methods, so that at least somewhere the child will fit himself or herself somewhere to learn the concept which is being taught in the classroom. Then comes the collaborative teaching. We all are doing this in our schools. Collaborating teaching is also known as the co-teaching, wherein we basically the approach often, you know, pairs the general education teachers and the special education teacher in have any SN child in the class. We do discuss it with our special educators also, and then we come back to our classroom, we plan our lessons in that way, and so that we can better address the needs of all students in an inclusive classroom. Now comes the third step, the differentiated instructions. Differentiated instructions, like whether teachers differentiate in the content or the process or the product that ma'am has just explained about the content, because differentiated instruction is all about the content, the process, the product, that talks about the assessment, different types of assessment that we can incorporate within our lessons. And the learning environment, of course, is an important factor when we talk about differentiated instruction. So it all, whatever is the step, whatever is the process that we incorporate in differentiated instruction, the aim is to maximize each student's growth and individual success by meeting each student where they are and helping them progress. Like we are just understanding the current level, the current performance level of the child, and then we plan our strategies, we plan our lessons in such a way that the child should at least feel somewhere at some point of time, the child will feel valued and will feel this, yes, I have learned, at least I have walked this much distance. So that is ultimately in order to meet and in order to meet the learning outcomes that we are expecting from the child. That is all about the that talks about the differential instructions we are aiming at, and it focuses mainly on the personalized instruction, flexibility. Of course, if the child, if a different learner, we are handling a different type of learner, we will definitely incorporate some of the strategies that will suit that child and that will help that child, right? So enhanced engagement is also there, because now the child has found something doable for him in the classroom, and we can then say that ultimately the engagement level of the students have been increased due to all these alterations or the modifications that we are doing or bringing in our lesson plans. Then here, here I would like to highlight that the universal design of learning, the UDL that I talked about, and the differentiated instruction, DI, both appears to be the same, right? The only difference is that UDL is little proactive in approach that involves designing curriculum and learning environments from the outset to be accessible and effective for all, because it's like a broader term. Like we say syllabus. Syllabus is a broader term, and when we come and teach our lessons in the classroom, that is little responsive in nature. So when we are designing something broader, it is the UDL. And when we are coming down to our classroom and planning some lessons for our students, that again, based on the interest and the ability of the child, we differentiate our instruction, and wherein the differentiated instruction that comes at a responsive level. So this is the broader, I would say, the broader difference I'm talking about between the UDL and the differentiated instruction, since they all both are sound to be the similar thing. So the focus is on providing multiple means of engagement, representation, action, and expression to ensure all students can access and participate in learning. This I'm talking about the differential instruction. So differential instruction has responsive approach. Unlike universal design of learning that has the proactive approach, we are designing something for the entire school, or I would say, yes, every classroom can have this or that. That is the universal design for learning. But when we are coming down to our classroom, each teacher is going to with her lesson plan in the classroom. So she designs something. Okay, I'll talk, or I'll give this example to that child, or I'm going to give this activity to a different child. So here we are differentiating our instruction. This is the only difference between the universal design for learning and the differentiated instruction. Otherwise, more or less, the aim of both the strategies is coming down to be the same, to improve the enhancement, to engagement of the child, and to improve the learning outcome. So we have seen that it is responsive in approach that involves adjusting teaching practices and materials in response to the diverse abilities based on the interest, based on the learning, different learning styles of the students. And the focus is mainly on modifying the content, where in differentiated instruction. So the content, process, product, all are the different stages of differential instruction, and they meet the specific needs of the individual students or groups of students. Hence, UDL, collaborative teaching, and differential instructions are the most effective strategies when we are talking about any inclusive classrooms, that we can always keep catch hold of all these strategies, and then I don't think we are going to face any more challenges. Of course, still there will be, but we have already talked that every challenge has associated opportunities that we need to identify and grab it there and then, and so as to reach our. So this is all about the strategies of inclusive classrooms. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, the next educational approach is of ours is the differentiated learning, um, which involves tailoring instructions to meet the diverse needs or and interest and learning styles of the individual student, rather than adopting a one size fit all strategies like we have talked. Uh, a differentiated learning recognizes the students having varying backgrounds and abilities and thus instructional method, and resources and assessments should be adapted accordingly in this differentiated learning. The goal of differentiated learning is to provide all students with the appropriate level of challenge and support to maximize their learning potential. So this is the main goal of the differentiated learning. Okay, now let's understand learning diversity. Here students readiness, that students come into the classroom with different skill levels, and differentiation helps teacher address their diversity by assessing where each student in the class is at their learning journey. So like a pre-assessment, by assessing teachers can provide the content that is appropriately challenging for each learner. This means offering more advanced material for those who are ready to move ahead, and additional support for those who need it. This approach ensures that every student is able to make progress and achieve their potential. Learning profile, which we all are doing, students have different ways of learning. Some learns through auditory, some learns through visuals, some are kinesthetic learners. So different learners, these are there for different learners. So differentiation allow teachers to present information in multiple ways to cater their diverse needs and learning preferences. By using a mix of auditory, visual, and hand-on teaching method, teachers can help each student to learn in the way that suits them best, leading to more effective and enjoyable learning experience. And student interest also matter the most uttermost, where teacher connects students to learning interest. They can significantly boost engagement and motivation. And the differentiated instruction allow each teacher to incorporate topics and activities that resonate with the students, making learning more relevant and exciting. When students are interested in what they are learning, we see the students that are learning and they are interested in the topic what teachers are teaching them, they are more likely to get engaged and motivated, and which we also feel sometimes ki, yes, this is doing well, which can lead to a deeper understanding of the material. So by recognizing and addressing the diverse skills levels of the learner's preferences and interest of the student, differentiated instructions create a more inclusive and effective learning environment. This approach not only helps students to learn better, but also makes the classroom more dynamic and supportive place for everyone.
All right. The principle of differentiated instruction is based on the idea that teachers should adapt their teaching methods to meet the diverse needs, interests, abilities, and learning styles of their students. This approach recognizes that students are not all the same, and like ma'am just said, that a size fits all method of instruction is not effective at all. So differentiated instructions that I just described a minute before aims to provide each student with a learning experience that maximizes their potential by incorporating different styles and different ways of activities, different. That are these all are the principles of differentiated instructions that we are talking about. Content, as we all go into our classroom with some content, we do have a content to deliver in our classroom. right? So what can we make, how can we make the change? Like content, of course, everyone has the content, but we can have a variety in the material. When we are coming, when we are entering a classroom, we can have a variety in our material, like, presenting information in multiple formats. Like we can use textbook for some children, we can even show the videos to some of the students who are the visual learners. We can give some articles to read to some other set of students, and hands-on act. We can plan some hands-on activity to certain people who like learning by doing, and to cater to different learning preferences which are there. Right, so we can do we can even do complexity adjustment in within the classroom. Like advanced learners may explore or even go in deeper to or greater depth, to understand that particular topic. If we feel that this particular child has already graduated this content which I have taken into the classroom, we can ask the child, we can give the topic in such a way that he will have to, dive great deeper in the depth. And while those who need little support in the classroom, we can just work on the foundational skill of the content which we have taken to the classroom. So this is the content level differentiated instruction. Then when we come to the process, which deals with the strategy that can be incorporated within our lessons. So there, what we can do, we can do flexible grouping there based on there. Again, we have already, every teacher, when she enters in the classroom, she understands. She also is quite well versed with the students which are there in the classroom, who are there in the classroom, and we understand what are the special interest of so and so child, and what are how the child learns. So we, according, based on their ability, interest, and learning style, we can do the flexible grouping to allow for targeted instruction and the collaborative learning. We can enhance there, and we can even provide a range of activity that engage students in different ways, such as, like, we can incorporate some sort of discussions or short discussion in the classroom. We can even motivate students to do some experiments in the classroom, or independent research work we can give to someone who is more into, like, I already know this much, what extra is there for that child who is either, we can say, gifted, or little more has leveled up of that standard. So what we can plan, we can give a research work to that child on the same topic. So our content will remain the same, but the variety will be there when we are going into a classroom. Then comes our third step, that is the product, and which basically deals with the assessment that we do continuously within our classroom. We do a formative assessment. We also come finally to the summative assessment also. So product deals with the assessment, wherein we can incorporate choice in assignments during the formative assignments. With formative assessment, when we conduct, we can give choice in those assignments, thereby allowing students to demonstrate their understanding in different ways. Some can write an essay on the topic, some can give a presentation on it, some a set of students can prepare projects based on the performance. So all, how can we divide the entire class into different activities is again based on their strength and interest. Right. So the tired assignment, we give a term to this assignment. Tired assignment can be given that the appropriately challenged for different level of learners. So like the basic, the foundational learner will be given a little less challenging, as but the again, the content will be equally challenging for that learner, because since the level is different, so they will feel the challenge to be of the same level. Right. So difficulty level for each learner will be different as per their interest and the ability, but tired assignment can be designed for the students. Right. Then comes the learning environment. Then when we talk about the differentiated instruction, we are more concerned about the learning environment. That is, of course, is the adaptable classroom setup. We are talking about arranging the physical space to support a variety of learning activities, such as we can even design some quiet areas, some isolated areas, wherein some of the students who do not like any noise or interaction in between, especially when we talk about the children with autism, they prefer to do the things alone. They do it better when they get an isolated position. So in order, although the aim is not to isolate that child from the entire class, the aim is to get that assignment done. So during that assignment, we can of course provide a quiet space to that child in order to get that assignment done. And even the group areas can be made in order to give the collaborative task to the students, and this will foster a positive climate within the classroom, because an inclusivity and a supportive classroom culture will be there where all students will feel safe and valued. Even the one to whom we are isolating from the entire class will also feel valued, because that is the interest, that is the requirement of that child to be made sit at a quieter place to complete his task during that period. So again, in integrating students' interest into lessons to increase engagement and the motivation will always be our focus. When we are going into an inclusive classroom, we can provide choice board also, providing option for students to choose from, allowing them to pursue topics and interest, by meeting the when we design some of our lessons, we are more focused to meet our learning objectives or the outcomes. So choice boards can also be given to these students in order to get the assignment done. Again, the readiness is very important whenever we are assigning or whenever we are planning some assignment for our students. The readiness, and what is readiness? Readiness is basically the KYC. Know your child. Whenever you are going to your classroom, you should know your child, you should know their interests, you should know their level of performance, their current level, what are the challenges the child is facing. That, of course, we all teachers have that now instinct, that whenever we go and we just take a class and we are good to know about all the students, at what level a particular child is performing, or how the child is, whether the child has understood the concept or not, that we all get to know within one or two classroom at least. If two, why am I saying, is like, because if we consider to the strength of course of the class, then it will take hardly 2 or 3 periods in order to know the child better, about the interest, about the level, about the challenges that the child is facing in learning. So readiness is something that we need to understand about the learning of any child. So pre-assessment, using assessment to gauge students current knowledge and skills before beginning a unit or lesson is required. During the new session, of course, we try to understand every child before starting our syllabus with. And ongoing assessment is, of course, they are continuously assessing students' progress and adjusting instruction as needed to ensure that each student is appropriately challenged as per the level and the interest, and supported is our main goal. And then comes the learning profile, understanding learning styles, the KYC that we have already done, the VAKT approach we are already incorporating in our lessons. So recognizing that students have different learning styles and incorporating strategies based on their own learning style addresses these differences in a classroom. And personalized learning plans are there for those to whom we feel that they need specialized instruction. We of course plan individualized plans for them. We also contact our special educators, we contact our social workers and the psychologists who are there in the school, to in order to make a good plan for such students in the classroom. And by implementing all these principles, which are we have already talked about, teachers can create a more dynamic and responsive learning environment that meets the diverse needs of all students, helping them to achieve their full potential.
Now let's see the differentiated lesson plan, how is done. Here are the step-by-step guide to help each teacher to design a differentiated lesson plan. As Tulsi ma'am told, you should know your student. So conduct a pre-assessment by understanding students' current knowledge and their skill level. Then identify their style, learning style, whether they are the visual learners, auditory and learners among them, or they need extra help, learning preferences. Then their interest. Also, you have to consider, learn about students' interest to make lesson more engaging. Student profile also, language proficiency level, special needs if they required, their cultural background, which is also part of it. And the goal which you are setting for your students should be very much clear. Specific learning outcomes should be there, which will be aligned to your curriculum standard, to ensure, it should ensure that your students succeed in the outcomes which you want to achieve them. And there should be multiple formats for them, like for using them, like you can use videos as we have talked, hands-on activity, according to their different styles of learning. Now, plan your lesson plan according to the flexible grouping based on their abilities, interest, and learning style. Groups can be homogeneous, they can be heterogeneous depending on your activity. And incorporate a mix of activities such as direct instruction can be taken, collaborative work can be taken, independent study or experiential learning. Allow students to show their learning through different formats such as written reports or presentation or doing a project work or their creative expression. And the rubric also, the most important thing for all as a teacher is should be very clear, and and also ensure that these rubrics are fair for the assessment. Okay. So, and the atmosphere also is very important. There should be a positive atmosphere, and the arrangement of the classroom should be such for the learning activity, which there should be a lot of space provided for individual study and quiet reflections also. So, and regular feedback should be taken for, as a teacher, we should regularly take a feedback so that for the next lesson plan, when we are planning, we should be more thorough. Okay, we have to incorporate this in our lesson plan. So your lesson plan should be more both summative and formative one. And I'll give you one example of a lesson plan which I have taken over here is understanding and using different tenses. So my objective is by the end of this lesson, student will be able to identify, use, and differentiate between past, present, future tense in a sentence. So the activity which we can plan for the student in the starting of the class is briefly explain the concept of tenses using a timeline diagram, discuss real life scenarios where different tenses are used, like talking about the past event, describing current situation, action, plan for the future. Teach the rules. You have to teach the rules and structures of the present, past, and future tenses with example. You can show them videos also for explanation, and animation also works very well with examples. Then you can form a group, like you can form 3 groups. The basic one, you can use the tenses where sorting of cards can be used into past tense, present tense, and future form. Then there can be writing a short paragraph describing your daily routine, past event, or your future plans. And the third group can, which will be the advanced one, they can write or perform a short skit. They can write dialogues using different tenses on them. Okay. After assigning this work lesson, you can give them a differentiated worksheet according to the learning style of each student. And it should be exercises should be a tailored one to each group readiness level. Again, choice of activities should be given. They can write short stories, create a comic strips, or compose a poem according to the various tenses they can want. And then again, you have to collect the feedback, provide immediate feedback or group activities and independent practices. So this is the example which demonstrate how the differentiated lesson plan can address the diverse need, interest, and ability of the student, making grammar lesson more effective and engaging. Tulsi ma'am, unmute.
Implementing differentiated strategies in the classroom. I think I have already discussed all this, but then I'll just take them briefly. Flexible grouping, I've already talked about that based on the specific interest and the learning profiles. For example, if a teacher might group students who need more practice with a concept, then together for additional support, while those you can give more practice with the concept together for the additional support, and while those who have already mastered the concept then might work on the extension activities. We should always plan an extension activity while when we enter into a classroom, we should plan like if a foundational learner will do this much, the minimum level of learning. And if there is any child who has already understood the concept, we must have some or the other extension activities for such students so that this classroom will not be disturbed. Because if we do not have anything for such students, they will obviously disturb the class and will not let the learning go in the class. And even if he already has graduated that concept, we must have some extension activities for such students in the classroom. Then tired assignment. Again, I have talked about it at length in my previous slides. And like for instance, in a reading lesson, when some students might work on identifying the main idea in a straightforward text, right? He will just read and he will just identify what is the main idea of this text which you are reading. We can simply ask the students about it. While others might analyze the character development in more complex novels which are there, we can ask the child to draw a character sketch of the character which are there involved in the novel. And so by varying the difficulty of the task, teachers can challenge all students appropriately, right? Based on, again, their level, their performance level, helping them to grow and succeed without feeling overwhelmed or unchallenged. Because if a child will feel that this is not challenging for him or her, then obviously the classroom will then land up into a noisy place. And choice boards, as we have already talked about, that we must have some choice board. Suppose for a history lesson, we can include options such as writing an essay on the given topic or creating a timeline. If someone has already written the essay, you can give to create a timeline, conducting an interview, then designing a poster are some of these strategies that we can include within our classroom for the choice. But meaning thereby is just to provide choices to the students. If we have only one fixed question, do this or that, obviously some of the students will do that, happens in our classroom, and rest of the others who are not interested in that particular choice will not be giving you any response. Only they will just submit you the notebook, only that to even on giving so many reminders in the classroom. So every child must have uh, to be challenged appropriately as per the level. Right. So these are the certain things that we are talking about. Choice board should be given. Then learning stations, we can frame learning stations, designated areas that I have talked about based on their learning style and preferences. Like if anyone wants to do it in isolation, that he or she can be made to sit alone in one corner. And if any people, a set of students are there who want to do it in collaboration, can made to sit on another corner. Likewise, so different learning stations can be made to set up, encourage active hands-on learning and ensures that students can approach the material in diverse and engaging ways. So that is our ultimate aim when we are going into a classroom, that students should be engaged, the classroom should be disciplined, classroom management should be there. I think all will come together if we are planning our lesson in that efficient manner. So by implementing these differentiated strategies, flexible grouping, tired assignments, then we talked about the choice boards, we're talking about the learning stations. The teacher can create a more personalized and effective lesson plans and learning environment. And this method ensures that all students' unique needs, interests, abilities, levels, are leading to enhanced engagement, understanding, and academic success. That is our requirement. That is our ultimate goal when we are entering any classroom, right? So, coming to the next slide now.
Excuse me, ma'am. Sorry to disturb you, ma'am. Ma'am, it's already more than 1 hour to the workshop.
We are just
if we can wind it up a bit quickly. Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
So now when how do we end up our any lesson? How do we end up? We end up by measuring the impact of differentiated instructions, right? So how will we measure the impact of differentiated instruction that we have designed for our classroom is by noticing the increased student engagement. I'm sure the way we have just studied from the morning, right morning, what are the different strategies? How can we differentiate instructions in the classroom? How can we know the KYC of our, if we are incorporating all these things into our lesson plans, definitely we are going to see all these changes in our classroom, the increased student engagement, the higher academic achievements, and improved social emotional skills, and the enhanced performance of the child. These all are we are definitely going to witness in our classroom, enhanced equity and inclusion. That is the ultimate goal. And so by measuring increased student engagement and all these things, these indicators help teachers understand how well their strategies are working and ensure that all students are receiving the support they need to uh, uh, understand when they are coming to the classroom. So, as we conclude this workshop now, this is the end of our session. I know it's very abrupt, but then as we conclude this workshop, I am filled with immense gratitude and appreciation. First and foremost, I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to Mr. A.K. Sharma, REO, who meticulously is who's planning and dedication in making this event a success, and your efforts have provided us with the platform to learn, share, and grow together, sir. And I also extend my gratitude to Ms. Prerna, who has very efficiently coordinated this training session. Thank you, ma'am. And to all the participants, your enthusiasm, your engagement, and willingness to contribute have truly enriched our experience. Your active involvement have made this workshop dynamic and inspiring. Thank you all for your time, energy, and commitment. Let us carry forward the knowledge and connections we have made here today, applying them to our work. Together, we can make a meaningful impact. Thank you once again, everyone.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you, Tulsi ma'am. Thank you, Mona ma'am, for bringing about this concept of inclusive education and differentiated learning. I think now the days are not like earlier we used to have one size fits all. Now gone are those days, ma'am. Thank you for bringing forth this very significant concept. May I now request Deepika Tewari ma'am from Bhavan Panchkula to propose a formal vote of thanks to our resource persons?
Thank you, Prerna ma'am. Namaste, Dr. Anil Sharma, sir, National Education Officer, Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, New Delhi. Our esteemed speakers, Ms. Mona Jain Patras and Ms. Tulsi Vora, special educators, BVP Mehta Vidyalaya, and everyone attending the session. First and foremost, I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to Dr. Anil Sharma, sir, who always been a great guide and a motivator, enlightening us with his valuable knowledge and experience, providing us such a great platform which enriches us with new ideas, making teaching learning process practical. Next, I would like to convey my sincere thanks to our esteemed speakers for sharing their valuable insight and expertise on inclusive education and differentiated learning. Truly said, ma'am, inclusive education aims to provide equitable environment where all students get the equal chance to show showcase their equal capabilities. Like they gain the education with the unique capabilities. And we would rather emphasis more on competency based learning rather than content based learning. Now, I acknowledge Ms. Prerna and Ms. Simple for their commendable efforts behind the scenes again to make this event successful. Last but not the least, thanks to all participants for their enormous cooperation. Finally, I end up with this inspiring quote by Robert John Meehan, which says the most valuable resource that all teachers have is each other. Without collaboration, our growth is limited to our own perspectives. Yes, together we all can make it. We all can do it. So thanks once again. Thank you so much. Have a great day ahead. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you, Deepika ma'am. Yes, together we can, and we are making a lot of changes in our mindset, scenarios, and our understanding. Thank you so much. Thank you, the resource persons, for session one. Before we close with the proceedings of the day, let us join our hands to pray to the Almighty.
ॐ ध्यौ शान्ति अन्तरिक्षः शान्तिः पृथ्वी शान्तिरापः शान्ति रोषधयः शान्तिः वनस्पतय शान्तिः शान्तिर्विश्वे देवाः शान्ति ब्रह्मा शान्तिः सर्वं शान्तिः शान्तिरेव शान्तिः सामा शान्तिरेधि शान्तिः शान्तिः